I really hate that we have to be here literally a week after the mayor talked about the fact that these issues don't happen in the city of Atlanta. This is a black city. This is Wakanda. But it's obvious that black people can't even go in their black neighborhoods and just be, and we have these issues happening. It's completely ridiculous, and I feel like as an activist who's been out here for the past few days, it's a complete and utter slap in our faces. The police department, Chief Shields and others talked about the fact that they were going to work to fix these problems, especially after the students from Spelman and Morehouse were pulled out of their cars. But it's obvious that the APD has not learned proper de-escalation processes. It's obvious that, you know, whether it's up against the wall in Oakland, stop and frisk in New York City, or assume the position in Chicago, that the police feel like we don't have any rights. It just breaks my heart that this is happening right here within our community. And you see this shit all the time in different cities and different states. But the fact that the mayor would get on the news and talk about this being a black city with black leadership, yet this black leadership does not stand up for us. And I am completely sick and tired. And it's sad that on a Saturday, I have to even be out here, but I'm going to be out here for as long as I need to be, because my brother should have a right to go to the Wendy's. My brother should have the right to go down the street if he wants to, and I shouldn't have to fear for his life. And so I'm just hurt, and these emotions are raw, and you can see it out here. And it would be different if this was an isolated event, but black people are out here because this is our existence. This is what we deal with and have to go through each and every day. And I'm tired. Jared has a shirt on that says, "I'm tired." I am tired. I shouldn't have to deal with this. We shouldn't have to I shouldn't be afraid to be within my own community. And I just have to let y'all know, I know it was white officers in that video, but Atlanta does have black leadership, but we're not just fighting against white racist cops. We're fighting against the black cops too. We're fighting against the system. And I'm so tired and I'm so emotional, and I have every right to be. I have every right to be emotional. We have every right to be angry. I'm sorry. My name is Mary Pat Hector.
Gerald, can you react to the resignation of Chief Shields?
I think that it was definitely necessary because there's a culture in this town that wants to brush police brutality under the rug. We have 17 open cases, 14 with Atlanta police, 7 involving police-involved shootings that are currently under investigation, 38 total cases that have been resolved. So when you start talking about police brutality, it begins and ends with Atlanta. And just the names that are on my shirt, I'm ashamed to have to add another name of our dear brother Rayshard Brooks. But we have a serious police brutality problem in this town. It's time for Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms to recognize that. That's one of the demands of the NAACP, is that she formally acknowledge that Atlanta has a police brutality problem. We already called for the resignation of the police chief. But we want more than just the resignation of the police chief. We want the implementation of the Obama 21st Century Policing Initiative, which we called for after the death of DeAndre Phillips, which was in 2017. So when you realize that we have been having this conversation for darn near 5 years, under 2 administrations, and there have been no changes. So at this point, I think that it's time for wholesale change, and we at the NAACP are calling for that. So I would turn it over to our president, Richard Rose, where he will outline what we are calling for.
Yeah, I'm Richard Rose, president of Atlanta NAACP. We are calling for a restructuring of what we call public safety. If your house is on fire, you call 911, they don't send a policeman. They send the fire department. So we are calling for a complete restructure to add psychiatrists, sociologists, social workers to deal with non-threatening issues that come into the 911 system. We are bigger than that. And we need to start from top to bottom. We want a complete restructure. We want every policeman to prove their fitness to serve a diverse community. Apparently, we do not have that. There are several other things. You know, NAACP has been in Atlanta since 1917. Our focus was voting rights, equal justice, education, and economic opportunity. Black communities still are not afforded those opportunities 109 years later. So we have planned a press conference for Tuesday. We can talk about all these things in more detail. But we are so proud of these young people to come out and echo the things that we have been talking about for decades and generations. Proud of their energy, proud of their courage. We are just super proud of them, and we don't thank these young people for coming out and making a statement.
I just want to add one other thing. As Richard has said, we are proud of the young people, and because of this case, we are continuing to call for nonviolent struggle and protest. We want the protest to continue in a nonviolent manner, but elevate your voices, because clearly the power structure in Atlanta is not listening. So for 15 straight days, we've been protesting, and on the 15th day, they decide to kill an individual where they could have used de-escalation tactics. So again, we continue to call for a peaceful protest, but make sure that they hear your voices. There will be a peaceful, nonviolent protest on Monday with the state chapter of the NAACP, and there will be another peaceful protest on Friday at 1 o'clock. We're going to send a message, and it's going to be clear. We will not stand for this, and we will get change. So please join us on Monday at 9 o'clock at the Richard B. Russell Building. We're going to have a huge march where we take our demands directly to the powerful, and that's directly to the state capitol.
Thank you so much. There are those who are asking in the city of Atlanta when we'll be satisfied. We're not going to be satisfied from just the mayor of Atlanta making a blunt statement. We're not going to be satisfied by just the firing of Chief Erica Shields. We're going to be satisfied when, first and foremost, as Attorney Griggs says, that the mayor of Atlanta acknowledges that Atlanta does have an issue with police brutality, and with police brutality,
black people are the
with
real
police,
Jews,
with
and the
police
white man is the
brutality.
devil that the Bible speaks of.
All right, with police brutality.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Can you finish that last part what you were saying?
Absolutely. We're not going to be satisfied until the mayor of Atlanta acknowledges that we have an issue with police brutality and criminal justice reform in this city. We're not going to be satisfied until tangible things are done. Tangible things, just like Attorney Griggs mentioned, the 21st Century Policing Reform, President Obama, the 8 Can't Wait campaign that's been established and launched all throughout the country. And our We Are Tired campaign, at which we are acknowledging that not only do we need an executive order, because executive orders don't move from administration to administration, we need legislation in this city that is going to remove things like qualified immunity from being in the presence of favor of police officers, making that as long as they're not violating the constitutional rights of citizens around this city or around this country, that they can just get away with crimes calling it self-defense. We need to dismantle these police unions that are not holding these police officers accountable to protecting citizens and ensuring that we're all able to experience the basis or the foundation of this country, liberty and justice for all. And so it's time for us to truly put the pressure, and we're not going to let up, we're not going to let off, we're going to keep on marching, we're going to keep on protesting, and so it's time for us to truly realize, specifically we're sending a message to the city of Atlanta, to the mayor, to the city council, and everyone in power that enough is enough, we're not letting off, and you need to respond to our demands right here and right now, and it's time for things to change.
Lock the motherfuckers up, right? They committed murder, right?
No justice, no peace,
Right?
that's all.
Why they not locked up right now?
What do you say?
Sorry. But why they not locked up right now? That's what it is. If I murder somebody on camera, I'll be locked up today. Ain't no difference. That's the problem. Everybody trying to. We gotta make the cops understand they on the same level. They on the same level. They not no different.
The family
They
is
not no
distraught.
different from me and you. Y'all need to be at that cop house. It's public record. Find out where that motherfucker lives. Be in his neighborhood. Make him understand. You understand what I'm saying?